Hey everybody, Colton here, and the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer has arrived. Oh my god, it looks so sick. So, we're gonna talk about the trailer, I'll give you my thoughts on what's going on with Peter, and all of these villains, and it'll be fun. Let's just kick back, talk about the trailer. And look, I know a lot of you come here to hear me nerd out about the actual, like, in-universe material and, like, theories of what's happening in the movie, and the comic connections, and the setups for Doomsday and Secret Wars, and we will do that. Trust me. But can we just take a moment to celebrate the fact that this movie doesn't look ugly as fuck? I guess I shouldn't say fact, that's subjective, but it doesn't look how these movies have been looking as of late. It doesn't look washed out and muddy and flat and like it was shot on a soundstage. This thing actually has depth and contrast and saturation and bright, vibrant colors contrasted with deep, dark blacks. This thing looks like it was shot on film. It feels like a movie. And that is something I have been begging Marvel and Lucasfilm and other big studios to please, for the love of God, invest the time, the money, and the effort to make your stuff look like it wasn't shot on a Canon XL2. Okay, that's a little hyperbolic, but you get my point. Now, No Way Home, that was a very ugly, like visually ugly movie in my opinion. But I understand that they were having to shoot during a pandemic, so I will give them some grace. But here's the thing. The other two MCU Spider-Man films, they weren't winning any cinematography awards. And that's unfortunately the case for a lot of MCU projects because they have such an in-house style and unfortunately a sterile look to them. Not all of them. Shang-Chi is one that has like some vibrantness to it. And we've got the same director here with Destin Daniel Cretton, and the cinematographer's name is escaping me. I'm going to put it on screen. But he also shot some episodes of Wonder Man, so I think we're in good hands. And I have to say that this problem that I'm talking about, this flat lighting, lack of color, everything just looks washed out, that's more so a problem with the shows than it is with the movies. But anyway, Spider-Man, we're here to talk Spider-Man, right? So I'm really glad that this movie looks like a Sam Raimi Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 2, when it comes to the color and the vibrance and the light to showcase the dark and the dark to showcase the light. Long way to say contrast. But there's also the cloth suit that isn't painted over with CGI, and there's the swinging and the flipping, and it looks amazing. And my God, has the MCU Spider-Man had some ugly ass swinging in the past. So this is really refreshing. It looks like a Spider-Man movie. It feels like a Spider-Man movie. This is the MCU Spider-Man movie that I have wanted since they announced that Spider-Man was joining the MCU. Peter Parker, he looks sad and disheveled and tired, and Tom Holland is just delivering this stellar performance with his eyes. You just see pain behind his eyes. And that's fantastic because that's Spider-Man. He doesn't take vacations. He Spider-Mans, and then he Spider-Mans, and then he Spider-Mans some more. We are seeing a situation where, following No Way Home and Peter Parker being forgotten, Peter really has fallen into his alter ego. Spider-Man, is still known and beloved, while Peter Parker is no more. So Peter, in a way, the Peter Parker persona, that's really what has become the mask, the not real self, I guess you could say. His true identity is becoming more and more Spider-Man than it is Peter. And that's kind of ironic because, as we'll talk about, and as we did talk about earlier on Screen Crush, we did a live stream talking about all of this. My co-host Alex mentioned how in the comics with like the Other, which is the giant spider creature that I think that Peter turns into. I haven't read those comics. I'm only familiar with the plot from season 2 of the animated series where he turns into the giant spider. But like at some point in that comic, we see Peter like shed his skin, basically like leaving a husk of Peter Parker behind. And so anyway, that's a long way about to say that it's kind of feeling like the true skin of the character now is Spider-Man, while the husk, the mask, is the Peter Parker persona. He's trying to find himself again, right? No longer is Peter trying to figure out how to be a superhero. That's done. He got that. That's what the last trilogy was about. Now we are seeing Spider-Man try and figure out how to be Peter Parker again. And that's the theme, right? It's also, becoming a very literal theme as well, because Peter is physically transforming. He's mutating into, I guess, a giant spider, it would seem. And he's becoming more and more spider than he is man. And that perfectly and brilliantly reflects in his situation in life, where he has become more and more Spider-Man than Peter Parker. The world forgot Peter Parker, and so did he. Peter forgot Peter Parker. He has no one, and it's heartbreaking. And we see him visit his aunt's grave. He stalks his old best friends, his old girlfriend, their social media pages, and a little bit in person. And he spends every waking moment doing that, being in mourning and being Spider-Man. It would appear his only friend seems to be the Punisher. And yes, I think that they have a very love-hate type relationship, but I think we can call them friends. And I cannot wait to see that relationship in the movie, because look, we're all tired, of course, of Peter having to have some MCU alum in his movie serving as a mentor. They've done it in every single Tom Holland MCU Spider-Man movie. We had Tony Stark, we had Nick Fury, we had Doctor Strange, and now we have Punisher and Bruce Banner. But let me tell you why these two are perfect. Why Frank Castle and Bruce Banner are must-haves for this story. There is a story reason for those characters to be here, and not just feel like some contractual obligation for Marvel to let Sony use some MCU characters in their movie. Frank Castle and Bruce Banner, they both have their own darker halves that are essentially rage-filled monsters. Frank has the Punisher and Bruce has the Hulk. And as Peter is going through this big change in his life, he is going to be faced with this quarter-life crisis that Frank and Banner will be able to provide wisdom toward. And, quarter-life crisis, that's kind of that's what we saw Peter going through in Spider-Man 2, and his powers are acting up and all that. So we're getting some echoes of the Raimi films. We got echoes of the Raimi films when he's on that rooftop experimenting with his new organic webs. Oh, I'm really excited. So anyway, I think we are going to see like that softer side of Frank Castle that will tell Peter about his own losses. And remember, Frank has lost a lot, and he's alone too, just like Peter. And in many ways, Frank lost himself and is now just the Punisher. And the same is true for Peter Parker, who has lost himself and has fallen into just being Spider-Man. So we're going to see some great exchanges there, some great parallels. And I think Frank will be able to provide Peter perhaps the best words of wisdom he's ever gotten from any MCU mentor figure. Frank can talk about feeling that rage, feeling that guilt, and how to handle it. And then we have Bruce, who instead of embracing his darker, rage-filled monster half, he has buried his darker half. And in all likelihood, that burying of his metaphorical and literal demon that is the Hulk, that is going to come back to bite him in the ass when Sadie Sink's character, the Mind Controller, pulls a Scarlet Witch and takes over his mind and unleashes the Hulk. And the metaphor behind that will be balance, which is what Peter and Spider-Man have always struggled with, finding that balance between being Peter Parker and being Spider-Man. We'll have Frank, who has gone in the embrace the monster fully direction, while Bruce went in the suppress the monster fully direction, and Peter will get to see both of these paths up close and realize that it doesn't have to be one or the other. He'll see that Frank's embrace of the Punisher persona, while that may work for him, and I don't think we're going to see that change. Frank is the Punisher. I don't think he's coming back from that. It's who he is. But Peter can see that that's not the path I want to go. And I think Frank might even, counsel Peter on that and advise Peter and give him the guidance he needs that, kid, you don't want to be like me. I think that's what we could see there, that Peter doesn't need to fully embrace the power, the hero life or whatever. He needs some time for himself, but he also knows that he can't do what Bruce did, which is bury the monster, bury the fight. He has to find balance in himself. So some other stuff that I thought was great in the trailer was this look on MJ and Ned's face when they see Spider-Man getting the key to the city. Ned looks like a superfan, smiling. We even see later it looks like he has some Spider-Man images in his room. I think we are going to see Ned like thinking of Spider-Man as like a best friend, because that's what he'll remember, that he'll remember that he knows Spider-Man. He's helped Spider-Man. He likes Spider-Man, but he doesn't remember the Peter Parker part. And whereas with Ned, you know, he's going to be in this super fan mode. I think MJ is going to have this unexplainable love for Spider-Man. She looks at him with a broken heart. She has like this romantic, like she's in love really with Spider-Man, because she really probably began to, you know, view Spider-Man and Peter Parker as one. So when Peter Parker goes away, that love for Spider-Man and therefore Peter Parker, it remains. And in her subconscious mind, I think she knows that there's something there. There's a feeling that she can't put her finger on, but she knows that it's there. And I think that that's beautiful. And I'm glad that MJ and Ned are in this movie. It had been theorized maybe we wouldn't see them again for a few movies. So I'm glad they're there. Now, speaking of them not remembering Peter, I do think that Sadie Sink's character, who does have mind control powers, I think we will likely see her restore the dormant and magically suppressed memories of Peter Parker for Ned and MJ come the end of the movie, or maybe just for MJ, maybe not for Ned. And we will see, you know, these two reunite. What else? Scorpion. Scorpion looked great. Nacho Varga himself back as Scorpion. All the fight scenes look really cool. Like I said off the top, the cinematography is amazing. The whole thing just looks fucking great. And I am so excited for this movie. I love that little post-title card bit about the friendly neighbor and him choking on his drink. Perfect. I am stoked. I hope you are too. And if you are, or hey, maybe if you aren't, let me know down in the comments below. All right, if you're new here, please do feel free to subscribe. Hit the bell so you get notified every time we upload a new video. I've been Colton Ogburn, and I will see you next time. Bye!